Hey, this is Jeremy from To The Table Games, and I started a series a couple weeks ago about how I acquire games or have acquired games through the years. And my first video was about Kickstarter, and I talked about how it was nostalgic for me because I bought games for my son's YouTube channel so he would have games to unbox and review before they came out in retail, and also how I like to buy super deluxe games with fancy pieces and enjoy the process of helping a crowdfunding campaign become a reality and watching the process. So this is kind of the opposite. So those are like super fancy, deluxe, expensive games, and this is how you get games cheaper. Not always super cheap because some games are just always expensive, but a way to get them cheaper. So, and my first set of stores I'd like to talk about are online board game stores. And there are three that I use typically. I mean, I've bought from other ones, but these are the three I look at most often. And these stores buy tons of copies of board games, and that makes it so they can sell them under the MSRP, so full price. They don't have to charge you the full price for the game because they're buying. Not every game, some games they still have to charge you full price, but most games you can get under the MSRP even before they come out. So you can pre-order it and still get it for cheaper than the MSRP. And so if you like getting the newest, hottest games, these sites are really good sites to do that. Now, really hot games sell out really fast, so you need to be on the site when it comes out or pre-order it the day it goes up for pre-order if it's a super hot game. But the first site I want to point out, and let's pull up my computer with my Stream Deck that I talked about last time, and Miniature Market is a great site to buy games online. And there's lots of advantages to buying from these sites. Not only can you get games for under the MSRP, but you also, Vinny, my dog is coming in with this pitter patter. You also have deals that you can look at their deals. They also always have a deal of the day, and all three sites that I'm going to point out of the online game stores all have deals of the day. They also all put out great sales over Black Friday. So that's also, if you're just trying to get a bunch of free, or not free, cheap games, that's a great way to get a bunch of really cheap games. Obviously, they're not going to be selling the newest, hottest games on Black Friday for super cheap. But yeah, so there's definitely great ways to get deals on these sites besides just getting games for under the MSRP. But my main reason I go to these sites is to try to find the new games and try to get them a little cheaper than going, say, to my local board game store or Target or Walmart or something like that that sometimes has those games. These stores have a lot more games, a lot more choices, and they typically, you can pre-order them way before they be at, your local game store or, Walmart or something like that. So, yeah. So one of the other ones is Game Nerds, and both Game Nerds and Miniature Market, I almost forgot the other store. They're pretty much identical, except for their prices do vary. But like all the different things, like the deal of the day, they have rewards programs. So if you buy a lot of games, like you get a deal, or like you'll get money back over time to maybe put towards other games. So yeah, both those sites have that. One thing that you do have to keep in mind with buying online is shipping. So that's one thing to think about. And both Game Nerds and Miniature Market, you actually have to hit a threshold of $75, and then you get free shipping anything under $75, you have to pay shipping, which is not super expensive usually, but still, I like to save on shipping. And only having to buy 2 games to get free shipping, you know, I mean, really, $75, 2 games is pretty normal these days. Yeah, that's not too bad. So the other site is Card Hoss, and this is another great site, but this one you actually have to pay you have to buy $100 worth, which is a little more expensive. So you probably have to end up buying at least 3 games to be able to get that free shipping. So another thing that this site doesn't have that the other 2 sites have is, say you don't really have $75, but you really want that game and you don't want to pay shipping. If you're willing to wait, you can always put that game on hold and they'll hold it for you. You pay for it, but then once you have enough money to buy some other games, then you could put that game with those other games, get it over the $75, and then ship it at that point and get free shipping. So that's awesome. So yeah, so the only difference between this site and the other 3 is they don't have holds, I don't think. They don't have a reward system. And there was one more. Oh, and then it's more expensive for shipping. So other than that, they're very similar. The prices will be a little different on all the sites, and they do sell out really fast. So if it's like a really hot game, like, they will sell very fast and be sold out. But then you can be on a waiting list if you're willing to wait, you know, like for the next time they have it, and they'll tell you we have more copies, and then, you know, you can order it then. So yeah, but if you're trying to get games, you know, less than MSRP before they get old and, you know, people just want to put them on sale or whatever in the other stores, like your local game store or whatever. And I'm not knocking local game stores, because there are definitely advantages to local game stores, and we'll probably talk about that in another video. But so we got, I'm just going to go through them again. We got Miniature Market, we got Game Nerds, and we got Card Hoss. They're all great sites. I've used them all. I would trust ordering from them. I've never had an issue with them. So yeah, check them out. I think these are great stores. I'll put the link in the description, so you know, if you want to check them out, they'll be there. Now the next 3 stores are all stores that you've heard of and that you probably have in your town if you live in a city. You know, maybe if you live in the country, you wouldn't have them, but anyways, but you've probably all heard of these stores, and the first one is Target. Now, Target, they have a pretty decent game collection, not huge, but online they actually have a bigger game collection, so you can find other games that you can't find in the store. So yeah, I definitely think Target is a great place to get games. They have clearance games regularly, you know, when they're, you know, cleaning out their stock, so you definitely can find cheap games then. But the one thing I wanted to highlight about Target is, on a regular basis, they will put out, like a couple times a year, they'll put out buy 2 games, get 1 free. Now, if you buy 3 games at the same price, like you bought 3 of the same games, you get 33% off all 3 of those games. That's a pretty good deal. And if those games are all on sale, that stacks. So if it was, you know, on sale for, you know, 20% off, you would get that off, and then the 33% off if you got all those games on sale, whatever. I mean, but the one thing I want to highlight, not everyone likes this, but I like to get a deal, so I've definitely done it, you know, but you're kind of cheating the system a little bit. But if you buy 3 of the same game, like on sale or whatever, you buy it, and then you return 2 of them, you still get that 33% off. 33% off. And I've done this online. I've also done it in person. They don't seem to care if you do that. Like, it's a little silly that you have to, you know, do that to make that happen, but they seem fine with you returning the games and still getting the 33% off. So yeah, that's a way. I definitely have gotten some great deals on board games at Target. So that's why I wanted to highlight Target. The next one would be Barnes and Noble. Now, Barnes and Noble, honestly, besides like my local game stores, have the best collection of board games in town. They're better than Target and Walmart and other big box stores. And so this is a great place to go and look for games. Wow, I just pulled that up. And yeah, they have a great collection. But the way I get deals at Barnes and Noble is they have a last chance table. Basically, it's like clearance table. But a lot of times, when they put games on the table, they'll put them for 50% off. And right now at the store, they have some that are 30% off too. But 50% off a game is 50% off a game. That's half price. So that's, half price MSRP. That's a pretty good deal right off the bat, So, but if there's a bunch of those games, you could actually watch it and check it, once a week. And sometimes those 50% off games, if they don't sell fast enough, they'll knock them down to 75% off, and you can get games super cheap. There was one time where, this was pre-COVID, but where I got like so many games for like $5, around $5, $10, because I got them all 75% off. And I was really, at that point, I host like game nights at my church, and I really wanted to beef up my collection before I hosted my first game night at the church. And so I just bought a ton of games. And so, yeah, that is a way to get some really cheap games. And I think I got Blob Party for like $5 recently from there. So, and at my store, there's still copies of that. So, yeah, great way to get some cheap games from Barnes and Noble. So, all right. So, the next site you've all heard of, I'm sure of, and that is Amazon. Now, Amazon has tons of games. And yeah, I mean, it's endless. There's so many games. And I want to point this out. This game is $10.99. And the reason I know that, I'll show you in a second. And it's the way I find deals on Amazon, or one of the ways I find deals on Amazon. But another way, like, so say you want a game, but you just don't want to, you just think the game's too expensive, but you're really interested in it, and you're willing to wait until it gets cheaper. Well, the next site is called Camel Camel Camel. And this is a great site to try to find a deal. So I have Pergola here. It's a game I don't have, I would really like to have, but $52 is too expensive, or $53. And so you can set it up so you'll say what you're willing to pay. Now, there's different things. You could also say, hey, I want to just know when it has a deal, or, there's different things you can do, and I could go in and show you that. And it also tells you the prices it's been over time. So, but if I go into edit here, like, look, I can say any price drop. I could do that. A good deal, best price. So I could do any of those things and decide. It would email me, and then I could decide if I want to buy that game. This is a great deal site for Amazon in general. You can put anything from Amazon. You can put third party if you want on here as well, so it doesn't just have to be like something that's straight from Amazon. So yeah, this is a great little site. I don't use it as much as I used to, but it is a super cool site. The next one is the Board Game Geek Hot Deals Forum. Now, this Board Game Geek is like the biggest like board game website. Like, they have every game and they rank them and all that stuff. And you can actually get deals on the site, like people selling used games and different things. But I have actually never done that, but I know that's possible, and I know people that have. But this site is great because it tells you when there's a deal. So I pointed out that one. So I've talked about deal of the days from different those like Game Nerds, it tells you right here. Also, I was telling you that Amazon game, this game, it is $10.99. So it shows you this is current, um, and I think it's a great deal. The publishers are sending me this game, so I am not going to buy this for $10.99, but that is a great deal. I am showing off a game at Barnes & Noble, and so they are sending it to me for free. So, but yeah, this is a great, great site to find deals. It's very straight and to the point. It tells you, they try to tell you when the deals are dead. Yeah, it's a great way to find some great deals. And the last site is a little more broad of a site. It is Slick Deals, and especially for like Amazon and Walmart and Target and things like that, I typically see the deals here because I check this for all kinds of deals. I'm like, hey, what kind of deals are out there right now? And I'll check this site. And right now, I don't think there's any like prominent board game deals, or I would see them here. But you also can search, and I think if you search like board games, then you're more likely to get those in your feed as well. But this is a great way to find some really good deals on board games. And so those are all the ways, not the only ways, but the ones I wanted to highlight today, that I find deals. And just, so if you're a new board gamer and you're trying to get some more games, or like you just like board games but you don't want to spend as much as the full price of an MSRP, or you just want to get a really good deal on a board game, these are some ways you can do that. And this is an exhausted list. It's just my list. But if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button, and then hit the bell for notifications so you know when my videos come out. And then the last one is, if you could like this video, that'd be awesome. And leave a comment. Tell me about deal sites that you have. Maybe you know some board game deal sites that I don't know, and I'd love to hear about them. Or a deal site for anything. That'd be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. So, all right. I can't wait to do the next one. So I'll see you on the next video about where I acquire games. All right.